If you feel jealous even though you fully trust your partner, you're not insecure, you're traumatized. And before you close this video thinking that sounds dramatic, hear me out, because what I'm about to explain will completely reframe how you see your own emotions. If this resonates with you, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to the channel, because we're diving deep into psychology and trauma responses that most people completely misunderstand. Here's what's really happening. You know, logically they're loyal. You've seen the proof. You believe them. You trust their words. But the second they come home late or someone flirts with them, or they don't text back for 2 hours, your chest tightens and your brain spirals. You start creating scenarios that you know aren't real. This isn't doubt in them. This is your nervous system remembering every single time trust was broken before they even existed in your life. According to psychology, this is called abandonment hypervigilance. Your amygdala, the part of your brain that detects threats, doesn't care about logic. It only cares about patterns. And if you've been cheated on, lied to, or abandoned before, your brain filed that under danger. Never forget. So now, even in a healthy relationship, it scans for red flags that aren't there because it's trying to protect you from reliving that pain. Your jealousy isn't proof that you don't trust them. It's proof that someone before them broke that trust so badly, your brain refuses to let its guard down. From a neurological perspective, trauma rewires the brain. When you experience betrayal, especially repeated betrayal, your brain creates what's called a threat template. Every future relationship gets filtered through that template. Your partner could be doing absolutely nothing wrong, but your nervous system is running a background scan comparing their behavior to past patterns that hurt you. This is why you can consciously know they're faithful, but still feel that knot in your stomach. Your prefrontal cortex, the logical part of your brain, understands the present reality. But your limbic system, the emotional survival part, is stuck in the past. It's operating on old data, because that old data kept you safe once, and it doesn't want to risk being blindsided again. Behaviorally, this shows up in specific ways. You might need constant reassurance, even though you got it yesterday. You might analyze their tone in a text message for hidden meaning. You might feel anxious when they're around attractive people, even though they've never given you a reason to worry. You might ask questions you already know the answers to, just to hear them say it again. And here's the part most people don't talk about. You feel guilty about it. You feel crazy. You apologize for being too much, for needing too much, for feeling too much. You hate that you're like this because you know your partner doesn't deserve it. But you can't just turn it off. That guilt makes it worse because now you're not just dealing with the jealousy, you're dealing with shame about the jealousy. You start to believe you're broken, or toxic, or incapable of healthy love. But the truth is, you're not broken. You're responding exactly how a traumatized nervous system is designed to respond. Psychologically, jealousy rooted in trauma operates differently than jealousy rooted in actual present-day distrust. When jealousy comes from real betrayal happening right now, it's usually accompanied by concrete evidence, patterns you can point to, behaviors that don't add up. But trauma-based jealousy doesn't need evidence. It manufactures worry out of thin air because it's not reacting to what your partner is doing. It's reacting to what someone else did. This is why reassurance only works temporarily. Your partner can show you their phone, cancel plans to stay with you, tell you they love you 100 times, and it feels good in the moment. But an hour later or a day later, the anxiety comes back. Because the reassurance is treating the symptom, not the source. The source isn't them. The source is the unhealed wound inside you that's still bleeding from a past injury. From an attachment theory perspective, this kind of jealousy often stems from anxious attachment. If you grew up in an environment where love was inconsistent, where caregivers were sometimes present and sometimes absent, where affection felt conditional, your brain learned that closeness is unreliable. You learned that people leave. You learned that love can be taken away without warning. So even as an adult in a stable relationship, part of you is always waiting for the other shoe to drop. You love them deeply, maybe more than you've ever loved anyone, and that terrifies you. Because the more you love them, the more it will hurt if they leave. So your brain tries to protect you by staying alert, by looking for signs, by preparing for the loss before it happens. It's exhausting, but it's also a survival mechanism. Your nervous system isn't trying to ruin your relationship. It's trying to keep you from being destroyed again. Here's another layer most people miss. Trauma-based jealousy is often about control, but not in a manipulative way. It's about trying to control an uncontrollable fear. When you've been betrayed, you lose control over your reality. Someone you trusted completely shattered that trust and you had no power to stop it. So now your brain is hyper-vigilant because vigilance feels like control. If you can catch the signs early, if you can monitor things closely, if you can stay one step ahead, maybe you won't be blindsided again. But that's an illusion. You can't control another person's loyalty. You can only control your own healing. And this is where it gets tricky, because healing isn't linear. You can have months where you feel secure, and then one trigger, one offhand comment, one late-night text, and you're right back in that spiral. That doesn't mean you're not making progress. It means trauma doesn't heal in a straight line. Behaviorally, people with trauma-based jealousy often exhibit what's called checking behaviors. You might scroll through their social media to see who they're interacting with. You might drive by their workplace to confirm they're actually there. You might ask their friends casual questions to cross-reference stories. And you feel insane doing it because you know it's not rational. But the compulsion is stronger than the logic. From a cognitive behavioral perspective, these are safety behaviors. They temporarily reduce anxiety, which reinforces the behavior, even though long-term they make the anxiety worse. It's a loop. The jealousy creates anxiety, the checking reduces it briefly, the relief reinforces the checking, and the cycle continues. What makes this even harder is that sometimes your partner gets frustrated. They don't understand why you can't just believe them. They've been nothing but faithful, and they're tired of being treated like they're guilty of someone else's crime, and they're not wrong to feel that way. But neither are you for feeling what you feel. This is where communication becomes critical. If your partner doesn't understand that your jealousy is about past trauma and not present distrust, they'll take it personally. They'll think you don't trust them when the reality is you don't trust your own nervous system to not betray you with false alarms. Now let's talk about the physical symptoms, because trauma-based jealousy isn't just mental. When that anxiety hits, your body responds like you're in actual danger. Your heart rate increases, your palms sweat, your stomach drops. That's your sympathetic nervous system activating the fight-or-flight response. Your body is flooding with cortisol and adrenaline. These are the same stress hormones that would release if you were being chased by a predator. Except there's no predator. There's just your partner texting a coworker about a meeting. But your body doesn't know the difference between real danger and perceived danger. This is why the jealousy feels so overwhelming. It's not just an emotion you can think your way out of. It's a full-body physiological response. Your nervous system is convinced you're under threat, and it's preparing you to fight or run or freeze. And because there's no actual threat to fight or run from, all that energy just cycles inside you as anxiety. From a somatic perspective, trauma lives in the body. You can understand intellectually that your partner is trustworthy, but if your body is holding trauma from past betrayals, it will override your logic every time. This is why talk therapy alone sometimes isn't enough. You need approaches that address the nervous system directly. Things like somatic experiencing, EMDR, or even just learning to regulate your nervous system through breathing exercises can make a massive difference. Because you're not trying to convince your mind anymore. You're trying to convince your body that it's safe. Here's what a lot of people don't realize. The jealousy often gets worse right when the relationship gets better. When things are going well, when you're falling deeper in love, when you're feeling genuinely happy, that's when the panic sets in. Because your nervous system knows that the higher you climb, the harder you'll fall. So it tries to protect you by creating problems where there aren't any. It's like your brain is saying, if I can find something wrong now, I can prepare for the pain. If I stay anxious and vigilant, I won't be caught off guard when they eventually leave. But that's not protection. That's self-sabotage. Psychologically, this ties into what's called a counter-dependent attachment style. You want closeness desperately, but the moment you get it, you panic and create distance through jealousy and conflict. It's not conscious. You're not doing it on purpose. But the pattern is there. Let's talk about how this shows up in different relationship stages. In the early dating phase, trauma-based jealousy might look like constantly checking if they're still interested, reading into response times, analyzing every word, looking for signs they're losing interest or talking to someone else. You're anxious before you even have a reason to be, because your brain is preparing for the inevitable disappointment. In the commitment phase, it might look like needing constant validation that they still choose you, asking if they still love you, if they're happy, if they would tell you if something was wrong. You're seeking reassurance not because they've given you doubt, but because you can't believe someone would actually stay. In the long-term relationship phase, it might look like hypervigilance around any change in behavior. They're quieter than usual, and you assume they're pulling away. They're working late, and you assume they're cheating. They're on their phone, and you assume they're talking to someone else. Every deviation from the norm feels like evidence of betrayal, even when it's completely innocent. From a behavioral economics perspective, this is called loss aversion. The pain of losing something is psychologically more powerful than the pleasure of gaining something. So your brain focuses on preventing the loss, rather than enjoying what you have. You're so afraid of losing them that you can't actually be present with them. Here's another angle that's important. Social media has made trauma-based jealousy exponentially worse. You can see who your partner follows, who likes their posts, who comments on their pictures. You can track their activity, see when they were last online, notice when they view someone's story. And if you have trauma-based jealousy, all of that becomes a minefield. You see them like someone's photo, and your brain creates a narrative. You see them following someone new, and you spiral. You notice they haven't posted you in a while, and you wonder if they're keeping their options open. But here's the truth. Social media activity means nothing. Someone can be completely faithful and still like photos. Someone can be deeply in love and not post about it. But when you're already primed to look for threats, social media gives you endless material to analyze and obsess over. From a neurological standpoint, this constant checking and analyzing actually reinforces the anxiety. Every time you check their social media and find something that triggers you, your brain releases a hit of cortisol. That cortisol reinforces the neural pathway that says checking is necessary. So you keep checking, which keeps triggering you, which keeps reinforcing the behavior. Breaking that cycle requires you to actively resist the urge to check. And that's incredibly hard because the urge feels urgent and necessary. Your brain is telling you that if you don't check, something bad will happen. But the opposite is true. The more you check, the worse your anxiety gets. Now let's talk about the difference between intuition and trauma response. Because sometimes your gut is actually picking up on something real. And sometimes your gut is just your trauma talking. So how do you tell the difference? Intuition is calm. It's a quiet knowing that something is off. Trauma response is loud. It's panic and spiraling and catastrophic thinking. Intuition is specific. It points to concrete behaviors that don't add up. Trauma response is vague. It's just a generalized sense of dread without clear cause. Intuition gets stronger with evidence. The more you look, the more you see that confirms it. Trauma response gets weaker with evidence. The more you look, the more you realize there's nothing actually there. Intuition leads to clarity. Trauma response leads to confusion. If you're constantly looking for proof and never finding anything substantial, that's trauma. If you're finding concrete patterns that any objective observer would also notice, that might be intuition. The key is being honest with yourself about which one you're experiencing. Here's what most people don't want to acknowledge. Sometimes the jealousy is so intense that it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Your constant accusations and need for reassurance push your partner away. They get tired of being treated like a criminal. They start pulling back to create space. And then you point to that pulling back as proof that your jealousy was justified. But it wasn't. You created the distance you were afraid of by trying so hard to prevent it. From a systems theory perspective, this is called a negative feedback loop. Your anxiety creates behaviors that create the outcome you feared, which reinforces the anxiety, which creates more problematic behaviors. Breaking that loop requires you to do the counterintuitive thing. You have to give them space even though it terrifies you. You have to trust even though you're scared. You have to sit with the discomfort instead of trying to control it away. And every time you do that successfully, you prove to your nervous system that trust is survivable. Let's talk about childhood roots, because for many people, this jealousy didn't start with romantic betrayal. It started way earlier. If you had a parent who was inconsistent, who was loving one day and cold the next, who made promises they didn't keep, who left emotionally or physically, your brain learned early that love is unreliable. You learned that the people who are supposed to stay can leave. You learned that affection can be withdrawn without warning. You learned that you have to monitor and manage other people's moods to keep them close. And now, as an adult, you're bringing all of that into your relationship. Your partner isn't actually your parent, but your nervous system doesn't know that. It just knows that closeness equals potential abandonment, and it's trying to keep you safe the only way it knows how: through hypervigilance and control. From a developmental psychology perspective, secure attachment is formed when caregivers are consistently responsive and attuned. If you didn't get that, you likely developed anxious attachment. And anxious attachment in adulthood looks a lot like trauma-based jealousy. The constant need for reassurance, the fear of abandonment, the difficulty trusting that love will last. Here's another layer. Sometimes trauma-based jealousy is compounded by betrayal trauma. If you were cheated on in a past relationship, especially if it was a long-term relationship, or if you were blindsided by it, that creates a specific kind of trauma. Your brain learned that even when everything seems fine, betrayal can be happening under the surface. So now, you're hyper-vigilant for those hidden signs. You're looking for the discrepancies you missed last time. You're trying to be smarter, more aware, more prepared. But what you're actually doing is living in the past trauma while trying to navigate a present relationship. Betrayal trauma specifically impacts your ability to trust because it shatters your sense of reality. When someone lies to you convincingly, when they look you in the eye and deceive you, it breaks something fundamental. You start questioning your own perception. If you couldn't see it then, how can you trust what you see now? From a trust rebuilding perspective, healing from betrayal trauma requires you to learn to trust yourself again before you can fully trust someone else. You have to rebuild confidence in your own judgment, your own intuition, your own ability to assess situations accurately. And that takes time. Here's what high-functioning jealousy looks like, because not everyone with trauma-based jealousy is visibly struggling. You might have a great career, solid friendships, a life that looks put together from the outside, but inside, you're torturing yourself every time your partner goes out without you. You don't make scenes. You don't blow up their phone. You don't accuse them publicly. You just quietly spiral while maintaining a calm exterior. You smile when they come home while your heart is racing. You act normal while your mind replays worst-case scenarios on loop. This type of jealousy is particularly damaging because you're internalizing all the stress. You're not expressing it. You're not processing it. You're just holding it inside. And over time, that creates resentment, physical health issues, and eventual burnout. From a mental load perspective, trauma-based jealousy is exhausting. You're running threat detection software in the background of your brain at all times. Part of your mental energy is always devoted to monitoring, analyzing, preparing for potential betrayal. That's energy you can't use for anything else. This is why people with unaddressed trauma often feel drained, even when they're not doing anything particularly stressful. Their nervous system is working overtime in the background, trying to keep them safe from a threat that isn't actually there. Now let's talk about what healing actually looks like, because saying you need to heal is one thing, actually doing it is another. The first step is recognizing that the jealousy is about you, not them. That's hard to accept because it feels like it's about them, but it's not. The second step is committing to doing the work. That might mean therapy, specifically trauma-focused therapy like EMDR or somatic experiencing. It might mean reading books on attachment and trauma. It might mean practicing mindfulness and nervous system regulation techniques. Whatever it is, you have to actively engage with your healing, not just wait for it to happen. The third step is learning to tolerate discomfort. When the jealousy hits, your instinct is to make it stop immediately through checking, asking for reassurance, seeking proof. But every time you do that, you reinforce the anxiety. Healing requires you to sit with the discomfort without acting on it. From a distress tolerance perspective, this is about building your capacity to experience uncomfortable emotions without needing to fix them right away. You notice the anxiety, you acknowledge it, you remind yourself it's a trauma response, and you let it pass without feeding it. The fourth step is communication with your partner. Not in the moment of jealousy, but in a calm space where you can explain what you're dealing with. You need to tell them that when you ask for reassurance or seem insecure, it's not because of anything they did. It's because you're healing from something that happened before them. Most partners, when they understand the context, become more patient and supportive. But you have to actually be doing the work of healing. If you just keep using trauma as an excuse without making any effort to change, that compassion will eventually run out. Here's what a lot of people get wrong. They think healing means the jealousy will completely disappear. It might not. What healing means is that the jealousy becomes manageable. It becomes something you experience rather than something that controls you. You feel it. You recognize it for what it is, and you don't let it dictate your behavior. From a recovery perspective, healing is about reducing the intensity and frequency of the jealousy, not necessarily eliminating it entirely. You might still have moments where you feel triggered, but instead of spiraling for hours or days, you can bring yourself back to center in minutes. Let's talk about the role of self-worth in all of this. Because often, trauma-based jealousy is rooted in the belief that you're not enough. If you don't believe you're worthy of loyalty and love, you'll always be waiting for your partner to realize it and leave. This is why working on self-esteem is crucial. Not in a surface-level way like positive affirmations, but in a deep way that addresses your core beliefs about your own value. You have to genuinely believe that you're worthy of a faithful partner, not because of what you do or how you look, but because of who you are. From a self-concept perspective, people with trauma-based jealousy often have what's called contingent self-worth. Your value feels dependent on external validation. If your partner reassures you, you feel worthy. If they don't, you feel worthless. But true healing comes from developing unconditional self-worth that doesn't fluctuate based on someone else's behavior. Here's another practical angle. Creating boundaries around your checking behaviors can help break the cycle. Decide in advance that you won't check their social media more than once a day, or that you won't ask for reassurance more than once per issue, or that you won't read their texts over their shoulder. These boundaries are for you, not for them. They're about giving yourself structure so you're not constantly acting on every anxious impulse. And when you successfully stick to a boundary, you build self-trust. You prove to yourself that you can tolerate the anxiety without giving in. From a behavioral modification perspective, you're essentially doing exposure therapy on yourself. You're exposing yourself to the anxiety-provoking situation without engaging in the compulsive response. The first few times are incredibly hard, but it gets easier. And eventually the anxiety itself decreases because your brain learns that the feared outcome doesn't actually happen. Let's talk about what to do when you relapse. Because you will. You'll have weeks where you feel secure, and then something will trigger you, and you'll be right back to checking their phone or asking repetitive questions. That doesn't mean you failed. It means you're human and healing isn't linear. What matters is how you respond to the relapse. Do you spiral into shame and give up on healing? Or do you acknowledge it, have compassion for yourself, and recommit to the work? The latter is what creates lasting change. From a self-compassion perspective, treating yourself with kindness when you slip up is actually more effective than self-criticism. Self-criticism activates shame, which makes you want to avoid the problem. Self-compassion activates motivation, which helps you engage with the problem constructively. Here's what successful couples do when one partner has trauma-based jealousy. They create a shared language for it. They have a code word or phrase that the jealous partner can use to signal that they're triggered. Something like, "I'm in my head right now. Can you help ground me?" That way the partner knows what's happening and can respond with patience rather than defensiveness. They're not being accused, they're being asked for support. And that changes the entire dynamic. From a couples therapy perspective, this kind of collaborative approach is essential. The jealousy becomes something you're working on together rather than something that divides you. The partner with the jealousy takes responsibility for their healing. The other partner provides support without enabling the checking behaviors. Now let's talk about what doesn't work. Trying to logic away the jealousy doesn't work. Your partner can give you every rational reason why they're not cheating, and your nervous system won't care. Because this isn't a logic problem. It's a nervous system problem. Ignoring it doesn't work. Suppressing the jealousy just makes it come out sideways through passive aggression, resentment, or physical symptoms. You can't heal what you won't acknowledge. Demanding constant proof doesn't work. The more you check, the more you need to check. Reassurance becomes an addiction that never actually satisfies the underlying craving for security. What does work is addressing the root trauma, processing the original wounds, retraining your nervous system, building genuine self-worth, learning distress tolerance, communicating openly with your partner, and giving yourself time and patience to heal. From a long-term perspective, people who successfully heal from trauma-based jealousy often report that their relationships become deeper and more fulfilling than they ever imagined. Because they're finally able to be present. They're not living in fear of the future or haunted by the past. They're actually there, in the moment, with someone they love. And that presence is what intimacy is actually built on. Not perfect trust that never wavers, but the willingness to be vulnerable even when it's scary. The courage to love even when you've been hurt before. The commitment to healing so you can show up as your best self. If you're watching this and you see yourself in every example I've given, know that you're not alone. Millions of people struggle with this, and millions of people have healed from it. You can too. It just takes work. Start today. Find a therapist who specializes in trauma. Read books on attachment and nervous system regulation. Talk to your partner about what you're going through. Set boundaries around your checking behaviors. Practice sitting with discomfort instead of immediately trying to fix it. And be patient with yourself. You didn't develop this overnight, and you won't heal from it overnight. But every small step counts. Every moment you choose trust over fear is rewiring your brain. Your jealousy is not proof that you're broken beyond repair. It's proof that you've been hurt, and your brain is trying to protect you. Thank your nervous system for trying to keep you safe, and then gently teach it that you're safe now. If this video resonated with you, leave a comment sharing your experience. Tag someone who needs to hear this. Share it with your partner so they understand what you're going through. And if you're ready to transform your relationship with yourself and others, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications because we go deep into psychology, trauma, and healing every single time. You deserve love that feels safe. And that starts with healing the parts of you that learned love was dangerous.